हम्म। चलिए सब लोग तैयार हो जाइए। कैपिटल पनिशमेंट, आज हम मेरा एस्से का टॉपिक है और कैपिटल पनिशमेंट, इसको लिख लेते हैं। कैपिटल पनिशमेंट ये है। कैपिटल पनिशमेंट एस्से का टॉपिक है। Capital punishment is the legal infliction of debts as a penalty for the violating criminal law of the lands. Since times of immemorial, people have that been put the death for the various forms of the wrongdoing. Methods of executions have index such as the practice as a graphic crucifixions, stoning, the drowning, burning at the stake, impaling, and beheading. Today's the capital punishment is typically uh, accomplished by the lethal gas and injection, electrocutions, hanging, or shootings. In a modern world, the death penalty is the, देखिए ये जो क्लास है हम लोग का कुछ पढ़ने वाला है, अपना सब लोग तैयारी करना स्टार्ट कर दीजिए जितने लोग जुड़े हुए हैं। In modern world, the death penalty is the most notorious severe practice, other harsh physical forms of the criminal's punishment. He also referred as unsophisticated and unnecessary. In the majority of the countries, uh, contemporary method of the punishment, such as the imprisonment of the fines, no longer involve that is infliction of the physical pains. Although imprisonment and fines are universally recognized as a necessary to control the crimes, the nations of the world are split on the issue of the capital punishment. About 80 nations have abolished the death penalty, and almost equal number of the nations retain it. An accepted principle of the society is that every person has an equal right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of the happiness. Within that framework, and the argument for capital punishment can be formulated along the following lines: some acts are so vile and destructive for the society that they invalidate the right of the committers, even that life, the privilege of living and pursuing a good life, nature of the moral community, living in the society expected on the honors that rightful alms and others, that utter and deliberate denials of lives and the opportunity to others forfeit one of the claim to continue in the society. The preservation of moral community demands that is a centering of that foundation of existence must be taken with the utmost seriousness. The preciousness of life in moral society must be so highly honored that those who do not honor the life of the others bias and they are on the right to membership multi null and voids, and those who violate that is right of others, especially of the done is avoid persistently as inhabits, uh, must pay the ultimate penalty, the punishment, and must persistent as a habit must pay the ultimate penalty inflicted for the sake of the maintaining a law in the society. द पॉइंट ऑफ, देखिए इसमें बस केवल पढ़ने वाला है, आप क्वेश्चन को डाल सकते भेज सकते हैं क्योंकि हम कब लगभग 1 घंटे तक 35-40 मिनट तक रीडिंग करेंगे, अपना स्वयं पढ़ेंगे, और आप भी अपने साथ मेरे साथ रह करके पढ़ सकते हैं। जो क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा वो पूछ सकते हैं, डाल सकते हैं। मेरे पास कॉपी है, मैं कॉपी में लिख लूँगा, बाद में क्वेश्चन बताऊँगा जब अंत में जाऊँगा तो। ये केवल रीडिंग करने का क्लासेस है, अपना स्वयं पढ़ना है। इसमें कोई पढ़ाएगा नहीं आपको, बस केवल अपने हो सकता है सुन सकते हैं, नहीं तो अपना पढ़िए, इसमें दिखते रहिए। The point of the inflicted of the stake maintaining whether capital punishment even the such case is justified or not. In ideal society would be the made of the citizens devoted to promote a balance between the individual self-fulfillment and the advancement of the common good. Social life would be based on the mutual loves. Everyone would contribute that is best of ability, and each would be received accordance with a legitimate claim to the available resources. What actions should be the community based on this kind of law take against those who has commits a brutal act of the honors? Hmm. And terror, violence, and murder taken the negatively, it will be governed by the philosophy of that eye of for an eye, a truth for the truth, and life for life. Those who show the respect, not respect for other life, would be restrained permanently, necessary so that it could not further pose and threat to endanger the lives of other parties. Purpose of confinement would not be when uh, big vengeance or punishment, rather ideal society would find out not be that circumstances that had made on that commit on the crime and rectify matters. Apart from that mercy, even those who had shown in the mercy no mercy, it was would work is the treatment by goods for evils. Acha. The aims of the isolation is a reconciliation and no revenge. It is ever hope that even the worst among us can be redeemed so that one's potential contribution to others can be realized. In brief, such are the argument for the against capital's punishment. That is, one is founded on the justice and the nature of the moral society. The other rests in loves and the nature of the ideal spiritual society. The point is crucial that love, ethic require a high degree of the moral and maturity. It is more suitable for the small, closely knit society in which all the people love each other. The depth, forgiveness, and the reclamation flourish best of where the people participate in each other's lives with the love and affection. It is become an ethnic of non-resistance to the that is unqualified and pacifism and the self-sacrifice, where self-interest has totally gone by the non-resisting Jesus on the cross and the surrenders his life to save the others is the epitome of the highest love and the sacrifice. And ethical love means no resistance, encroachment upon his own equal claim, fulfillment, and will the repel the possible and the denial of one of that. Ethical love would justify killing the self-defense on killing enemies, unjust wars. Non-lethal alternatives are not that they are the necessary and the tragic emergency stop present and ongoing violence. Unconditional love for the other, that is regard welfare of that neighbors equal with the one on the ideal expected of the citizens, surely that would be the hope and the impossible possibility. Nation state are not likely even occasionally to become the scholastics, that is devotion to each other, a mutual, not even the mention as sacrificial love. It's hardly that guiding rule of the relation between two that is not does either have that aspirance is the direction work cable ethical standard for the state and the nation will approve that ideal designed justice for requirement of the nodal society to the otherwise allow express social policy large impersonal society takes the form of justice what that norms of involves. for secular pluralistic society which cannot be spelled out here within this framework is strong but debatable case can be made for capital punishment pragmatically and politically. Of course, one of the work within the framework of justice defined as a secular society in which they have been the citizenship seek to transform it is light of their own ideals. The most compelling argument against capital punishment can be made on the basis of actual administration in the society. Following reason and argument are the assigned against the inflictions of the capital punishment. The possibility of fear sometimes in the innocent person might be to the death. Sometimes the capital punishment is inflicted disproportionately on the poor and minority. As or the judicial system is not transparent, it depends on the witness only that may be false or otherwise. Weakness of the argument of the deterrence that a claim that is threat of that capital punishment reduce the violence in inclusive certain not inconclusive certainly not disproven extremely difficult to disprove and morally disrespected in a case many survey reflects the weakness such argument the length of stay on death row if there was a very ever any the validity to the deterrence argument it is the negated by the needless appeal to the and the technicalities and the retreat that is keep person condemned to death waiting of the execution for years. One of the strongest arguments right now against capital punishment is here one of the strongest arguments is right now against capital punishment is that you are the incompetent to carry it out that has become the injustice. Mitigating circumstance, a person who's commit and vicious crime habits often the suffered from the neglect, emotional trauma, violence greatly and abandonment lacks love and host of the destructive society. Social condition, this is the extenuating and the circumstances may have the damage there the community to a point that is unfair to hold them as accountable for these breakdowns. In conclusion, the present practice of the capital punishment is regarded by the many of the moral disgrace that is the irony that society have that least right and fact is the precisely most likely to do so and the compounding irony is that economic malfunction and the cultural diseases in the society contribute to the violence that make it is necessary to unleash even more the repression and the brutality against the unruly citizens and preserve order to stay in a choice the society provide opportunity for all the citizens achieve the good life with sensible cultures. So it is reasonable to believe that is demand for the capital punishment will be the reduced the eliminated it is point to the shallowness of the dedication to solving the basis problem of poverty, moral decay, meaninglessness, social discord. vocab कार्ड क्या है इसमें मैं तो अपना इसमें जो पढ़ना था उसको पढ़ चुका हूँ punishment penalty that act of the punishing violating breaching disbowling and immemorial longs past beyond the limit of the memory of tradition and recorded history and classification and execution and the proposal bodies and the corporate worldly that is a captivity and internet interment and the deliberate is the calculators and corporate satisfaction of that is and desired reconciliation balance in the reportment is crucial a, a person's relating to thoughts beliefs pragmatically it realistic manners malfunctions and misfunction to failure that function only the brutally barbarism and ferociousness and business nonsensicality violent crime crimson fires and vehemence ये हमारा क्या था पढ़ने का रीडिंग था ये बस पढ़ना है केवल हमको रीडिंग अपने आप कर दी क्योंकि चीज़ों को अच्छा बनाना है समझ रहे ना तो हम तो कर लिए हैं अपना एक टॉपिक पढ़ चुके हैं योजना बचा हुआ योजना पढ़ लेते हैं योजना एजुकेशन फॉर न्यू इंडिया, अक्टूबर महीने का था, इधर पढ़ चुके थे। वो कितने बच्चा था इसमें, कितने बच्चा था यहाँ था। देखिए, हम इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम इन एजुकेशन के बारे में हम अपना पढ़ रहे थे। तो यहाँ तक वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम्स, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम INS is the umbrella that terms that is encompasses that is entire spectrum of India's intellectual and cultural heritage for the civilization with over 5 millennia recorded history and vast collection of cultural artifacts, archaeological findings, literature, and social practices. Defining the exact scope of IKS is the immense tech, include literary source, cultures, tradition, and social custom, historical records. Repository of knowledge preserved across the diverse Indian language, dialects, and regions. Knowledge in the society evolved continuously, and hence the intellectual contribution of the India from the prehistoric times to the present day collectively form what is considered IKS. The book Introduction to the Indian knowledge system concept and application defined the Indian knowledge system by explaining each of the words separately. The term India is the context of Indian knowledge system refers to the intellectual and cultural tradition that is emerged across the undivided Indian subcontinent, Akhand Bharata, extending from present day at Afghanistan to Burma and from that is Himalaya to Indian Ocean. The second element of the IKS is the knowledge, which is often it tax it the rooted in that wisdom gained through the person experience problem solving observation, memory pens, oral preserved through the tradition like the folk care or the confined into the explicit forms such as the theories and frameworks. Domain that continuously refined or validated through lived experience and intellectual inquiry. The term system refers to the structured approach to organizing and classifying the vast corpus knowledge, making it accessible. To six, that is involves the collecting, grouping, and codifying the knowledge, which is a coherent frameworks. That not is the orange arranges not is logically, but is the height is the interconnections, highlight the interconnection among the and components. Such a framework enables to the clear understandings of the overall body's knowledge and how its parts complement one another's. The beauty of India knowledge system, that is a Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, found Bharatiya Gyan Parampara and across the several, and that is such that is ever died on the stagnated. It equipped with new the dimension to the collective. आज तो सब गायब ही हैं, क्या करना है यार, अपना काम करना है, वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। डायमेंशन टू द कलेक्टिव, आदमी सफल हो जाएगा तो कहाँ किसी से मुलाकात करेगा। दैट इज कलेक्टिव नॉलेज ए टॉपिक बेटर प्रैक्टिस, क्योंकि हम भी तो तैयारी कर रहे हैं और हो जाएगा तो बढ़िया है, नहीं तो क्या दिक्कत है। बेटर प्रैक्टिस दिस इज हेड टेबल highlighted and recognized before the National Education Policy 2020. अच्छा, ये है which imposes the need to be education in the country to be seen through the lens of the Bharatiya Bharatiyata, that is the school education or higher education, and four aspect will make the youth of the country feel pride, state root rootedness. इसके बाद है IKS and NEP, and started national education policy NEP 2020. It equals now necessary knowledge and skills that must be learned. चाहिए a student, the time has come that is recognition to give out all the wisdom in our country which is very much in our the cultures. इसमें दिया हुआ था, क्या छूट रहा था ना, नेशनल मिशन फॉर द mentoring, experience and professional become that mentors and teacher towards the new direction. National Professional Standard or teacher the 21st century teaching standard and competencies required at each stage of the day and teaching career introduced. A national initiative for the school heads and the teacher holistic advancement. and national initiative by school heads for teacher holistic advancement. Over 63 plus lakh teachers have participated in the country largest service teaching training program. Integrated teacher education program, 4 year course introduced by capable skills and committed teachers. हम्म बहुत ज़्यादा है इसमें। चल पढ़ते रहो भाई, इसमें पढ़ना ही हमको, तो ऐसे पढ़ चुके हैं अपना हम। From humble beginnings and magnificent forms of the emergence. In the meticulous and crafting of this, the goddess Durga dwells. We said very the essential of the Indian knowledge system. The knowledge that is just into text, it is embodied in all the tradition, rooted craft, and passed down through the generation that is crafting of the goddess, from raw material to the drawing from the mirrors, how the Indian knowledge system shape as a student mind with the purpose and skill. Hmm. It is that is a tangible application of the Bhartiyata and NEP and National Education Policy and 2020 the aims to revive the fostering pride and the sense of the truthfulness of every learners. Next, एक ये योजना के बारे में हम अपना पढ़ रहे हैं, पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, तो हमको अपना क्या है पढ़ना। मैं बोला हूँ कि आप भी हम भी आप लोग मिल करके सब लोग पढ़ेंगे केवल, और जो क्वेश्चन नहीं आएंगे वो सब लोग मिल करके आपस में डिस्कस करेंगे। तो उनको लगता है कोई क्वेश्चन भी नहीं पूछा जा रहा है, तो क्या करना, पढ़ रहे हैं कि नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं हमको नहीं पता है, लेकिन दो लोग जुड़ रहे हैं तो कोई बात नहीं, अपना काम करते रहिए, ठीक है। ट्रेडिशन एंड वास्ट लिटरेचर एंड न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी and it has given us this opportunity to the systematically infuse knowledge of India in the education system. The infusion of knowledge of the India across the states, classes from the beginning and across the subject is what the policy and messages. All curriculum and the pedagogy from that foundational stage to onwards will the redesigned has strongly rooted in the Indian and local context and ethos in terms of culture, tradition, and heritage custom, language, philosophy, and geography. ठीक है। Ancient and contemporary knowledge, societal and scientific traits, and indigenous and traditional way of the learning. In other words, consider that education is maximally reliable, relevant, interesting, and effective or the student stories, art, games, sports. Example problem it is will be the chosen as such as possible to be rooted in the Indian and local geographic context. Ideas, observation, and creativity will be needed best to flourish when the learning is thus the rooted. National Education Policy 2024.29. The National Curriculum Framework NCF 2023. The National Curriculum Framework NCF forwarded by the NCRT under the Ministry of Education. Acha. And the constitute and strategic blueprints for the operationalizing NEP 20 guiding the reform of the modernization of school education across India. Is explained how the Indian knowledge system and can be incorporated in the following subject across all subject of your school education. द एनसीएफ ऑपरेशन। चलिए बताइए, आप लोग को बताइए नहीं कि हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, अपना पढ़ते रहिए। देखिए आपको भी मेरे को पढ़ गया है, 24-25 में हो गया है, ठीक है। एनसीएफ अप्रोच टू आर्ट एजुकेशन ड्रॉस ऑन क्लासिकल इंडियन टेक्स्ट लाइक द नाट्य शास्त्र, अभिनय दर्पणम, शिल्प शास्त्र, वास्तुशास्त्र एंड चित्र सूत्र, that emphasizing the elements such as the raga, tala, laya, rasa, and bhava. A student gradually builds on knowledge of the principle and engage within the local and the national arts forms, including music, the dance, theater, crafts, and the folk tradition and learning. Progress from the exploring locals art is the preparatory stage to understanding state and recognition tradition in the middle stage and analyzing the pan pan Indian art form at the secondary stage. India has made a remarkable contribution to the mathematics, including the invention of zero and the negative numbers, and early the concept of geometry and algebra. The NCF introduced that is the achievements progressively in the preparatory stage through that numeration systems middle stage of the explorers contribution. The Aryabhatta, I might mention like the Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Ramanujam, and as the secondary stage, brought advanced ideas to algebra and quadratic geometry. Science emphasizes India is a seminal contribution to the measurement system and canonical system, the astronomy, metallurgy, chemistry, medicine, and space research. A student are progressively engaged with this concept and beginning with the local observation that the middle stage and advancing to an analytical study of the measure of Indian and scientific discoveries at the secondary stage and situating them within the global scientific development and their role in the nation buildings. Social, social science education to and nurture tried spring the Bharatiya by the explorers India's rich history, diversity, and the cultural heritage. Student study India's contribution to democratic ideas, values as such as the peace, ahimsa, and the coexistence has a middle stage that is mine the historical foundation of the modern Indian state. With that secondary stage, they are the critically engaged India's past tradition and literature, philosophy, and knowledge system to appreciate at the civilization depth. Language education foster cultural rootedness of that connecting students to the rich linguistic heritage within the 9,500 languages and dialects. Learning in the mother tongue is the national language RI strengthens. Cultural understanding will the additional language R2 and R3 promote the multilingualism appreciation of diversity and national identity that the curriculum emphasizes language, literature, and cultural practices. Cultivate pride, belonging, and the community of the Indian tradition across all stages of learning. यहाँ तक पढ़ चुके हैं भैया. Physical education is that it draws the country on the country rich heritage of sports and physical activities including yoga, wrestling, Malakam, archery, martial arts, and the traditional games curriculum integrates this activity across all the states. Introducing other 15 local games that are preparatory states and promoting regular yoga and practice from the middle states up to enhance extend flexibility, endurance, and overall well-being. Pedag- Pedagogical approach and implementation. The National Council of Education Research so yeah, the National Council of Education Research and Training (NCRT) is an autonomous organization established by the Government of India in 1961 to improve the quality of school education across that improve the quality of school education across the country. NCRT plays a vital role in the designing the curriculum developing and finishing as well publishing the textbooks and creating the teaching, learning, and materials, conducting and educational research, and providing a training to teachers. It is the textbook widely used at CBSE schools and adopted by many state boards apart from the publishing textbooks. NCRT also deployed digital resources such as the e-Pathshala and Diksha, ensuring the access to quality education is both the print and digital form and formats standardizing school education integrated Indian knowledge system knowledge system and aligning curriculums that is the national education policy and NCRT plays a key role in the shaping the equitable inclusive and the modern education for learners across India providing authentic stage appropriate research based material with the proper reference in all that subject by the writing text and other the curricular material to all the agencies involved in the process for post. NAP 2020, the activities was made before NCRT. The process of developing syllabi and the textbook for all the grades 1 to 12, followed by an NCRT with the reference in the guiding and the blueprint of the NCF 2020 is very exhaustive and scientific application and the mapping of concept and resources have been done for the school subjects across the class integrating IKS after discussion in the curricular area group of IKS in all the textbook behind all the till the grade 8. It was been that IKS has appropriately integrated in the all subject curriculum area group. Hmm, Indian knowledge systems has been set up the guide all the curriculum area groups set up the develop that textbook across the subject across the graded and integrated not only textbook but also the variety of testing the learners learning materials such as the Jad- Jadui, Pitara, and special models, etc. During the last 2 years and textbook, the grades 1 and 2 are developed to Hindi, English, Urdu, and mathematics. So, yeah, which have the numerous concept chapter lesson, the poems, slokas, poetry, exercise, as usual, having the context, the IKS. Similarly, textbook grade 3 and 6 developed with the same perspectives and a view from the subject where they introduce the world around us, arts education and health education. We well-being that is the third and social sciences, science, arts, health and physical education, Sanskrit have the next vocational education, which have the inclusion of IKS textbook for grade 4, 5, 7, 8. Also, the philosophy that unit have that been given the curriculum area as a group members throughout the process and ensure that they have been appropriately incorporated. Revitalizing the education through the Indian knowledge system is not just about the preserving tradition, about remaining learning the holistic, sustainable, globally significance where the blending ancient wisdom and modern innovation India can be create the education system that is nurtures intellectual growth, culture, pride, and ethical values, preparing the student to become the responsible citizen of the world. तो ये मेरा जो है चैप्टर जो है यहाँ पर हम पढ़ चुके हैं, इसमें देख लिए हैं, इसमें योजना का था, बस इसमें करना था, रीडिंग के लिए करना था पूरी तरह से। हाँ, पेडागोजिकल अप्रोच एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन। अब अगला है जिसमें चैप्टर एजुकेटिंग चिल्ड्रेन विद स्पेशल नीड्स। ये हो गया थोड़ा उत्तर प्रदेश का current affairs and national importance. Uttar Pradesh current affairs today, special supplement of EPP's judgments, fifth paper, model and so. September का है, अक्टूबर का है, नवंबर का है. Current affairs today. And news replacement of Judge India's mid-term resignation of Vice President of India. Maharashtra rollback of India at third language. Guinea Index India is a Trinidad and Tobago relation. Magna Carta. Magna Carta Blueprint and Democracy. US SDG report 51 GS Summit. Narendra Modi Global Honors as much more. And next topic is many topics as topics के बारे में पढ़ ले क्या क्या पढ़ना हमको we study further that is current affairs national improvement political governance में importance में impeachment of judge in India mid-term resignation of vice president of India zonal councils and promoting the foreign university in India debate over that as socialist and secular in that preamble NCB operation MED Max SC uphold the legislative authority of states, National Commission for Minorities, Legislative Productivity in India, a special intensive revision of the electoral laws, and Maharashtra rollback of Hindi as a third language. Four-member nominated to Rajya Sabha. Economic scenario. Employment linked incentive schemes are 8 years of GST. Niti Aayog report on the chemical industry. Guinea Index, catastrophe bonds and natural disaster. Third edition of the Trade Watch and Quarterly. International Relation 12. And securing the Indian Ocean region IOR. Indian Trinidad Tobago relations. Quad at sea. And observe the missions. India's Namibia relation with Africa, relation and Africa. Russia became the first country to recognize the Taliban government. US lists the resistance from front as a global terrorist organization. Science technology. Unique stellar chemistry of star A980. India sends second astronaut to the space. And dengue all vaccines. Yes, sir. History and art culture, dual-faced lamp depicting Shiva Vishnu's syncretism, Kolhapuri chappals, birth anniversary of the Adikhavi Sarla Das, Maharashtra military and escape added to the UNESCO World Heritage. Geography, environment, Subarnekha rivers, and the thrust waves, MSc certification now to Chilka Lake and mud crab fishery, and review of projects, elephants, 50 years of the cities, 50 years of cities, born climate change conference 2025, and the Great Hornbill, revival of lotus in Uller Lake, on the river pollution in India, CIMTT toll and challenge interstellar comets. India achieved the 50% non-fossil fuel powers capacity. And the miscellaneous Magna Carta blueprint for democracy, Navya initiatives, Dharti Aba, Jan Bhagidari Abhiyan, and DAJA, and UN80 initiative, 10 years of Digital India, Hunger Hotspot, India Religious Unicode Consortium for the Global Language Supports, and the Edil schemes for the boost of industrial energy efficiency, PM Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana, Ramlila, and Indian heritage in the Trinidad and Tobago. Hmm. Hindi language movement has Nagari Pracharani Sabha revival. That is Phenom India is a national boy band, 10 years of still admissions. सब पढ़ना हमको. Adi Kramyogi and Thalas, Global HIV AIDS Fight at Risk, Reversal of ELB Fuel Ban, Sanchar Mitra Schemes, Prakash 225, Bankachela Project, Israel launches Dror, Reclaim the framework for mine closures, PM Virasat का संवर्धन विकास स्कीम, India Automatic Mission Plan 247, Current Affairs from Uttar Pradesh, Asmita 2025, and 35 report on the CBGRM, Uttar Pradesh target global manufacturing shift, Uttar Pradesh revives 50 rivers, Uttar Pradesh Architect Innovation Hub, learning by doing the program, धर्म चक्र प्रवर्तन दिवस कौशल मेल 25 नमस्ते देवी दे Lucknow becomes the zero and west city. Operation Conviction. Green Data Center in the Ghaziabad. New EV Park in the Uttar Pradesh. Birth anniversary of the Mangal Pandey. Short tracks. Reports and disease. In UN SDG report, State of Climate Asia 24 reports. Gender Gap Index 2025. Kerala adopted a me ranking. Global Tobacco Abatement reports. NIF Progress Report 2025, World Investment Report 2025, OECD Report on Drought Cost 2025, Skills for the Future Reports, second edition of NER District SDG Index, UNEP 7 Frontier Report, OECD FAC Agriculture Outlook 2025-24, 25-30 Awards and Honors, Swachh Sarvekshan 25 Award 41. डिफेंस सिक्योरिटी में आइनस तमाल आइनस निस्तार एंड talisman Sabre 2025 Australian missiles India received the second age F404 engine of the I and the ELCA Tejas and the Amethi Mac made AK-203 rifles summit conference 51 G7 Summit, 11th International Yoga Day 2025, NATO Summit 2025, Chemical Weapon Convention, 70 Tracks Spirit, Important BRICS Summit, International Day Against the Drug Abuse and the Illicit Trafficking, World Biotech Day 25, the Bio it is policy, World Population Day 25, India as a growth, place in New Croatia, State of Hormuz, Roine Glacier, Choice and Iceland Wildlife, Ciudad Sandhu Shiva Mandir, Helgolands, Sierra Leone's Sariksha Tiger Reserves, reservation of the Korean Chile, male of the Mahadeswaram, that is Wildlife Sanctuary, International Potato Center, India, and the Shakti Peeth Expressway, Maharashtra. Person news है Jahanvi, the gateway. Narendra Modi is a global honors birth anniversary of the Kumar Swamy Kamraj freedom fighter Heman Nilmani Singh's national sport policy portal apps Sugamya Bharat apps. The many of the topic discussed here and next time to be meet the current affairs of national importance और लगभग में जो है एक दो तीन चार पाँच मतलब जितना चैप्टर है यहाँ तक हमको क्या करना 50 ऑफ सिटीज गो टू इंडस्ट्रियल एफिशिएंसी सब पढ़ना है हमको नेक्स्ट टाइम मिलेंगे और थैंक यू वेरी मच टू बी ज्वाइनिंग अस